I'm Colonel Alok Asthana, retired. I'll talk to you as to why I feel the nation is wrongly spending too much money on its armed forces. No, I'm not a pacifist, just a hard-headed realist. My contention is that Indian armed forces are using just too much of national wealth for no good reason. Either use it or let go of a fair bit of expenditure. That's what I'm saying. So what's the situation now? Every few months we are adding some extremely expensive weaponry to our armed forces. Rafale jets, Russian S-400 air defense systems, American MQ-9 Reaper drones, Israeli weapons, what have you. All this costs a whale of money. And where does it come from? Well, it comes from depriving other sectors of the economy. Many would say that we have very aggressive neighbors, hence we can't neglect security. True. But let's get in a little deeper than this. A country needs much more firepower to attack than to merely defend. So if we are to be content with merely making ourselves safe from aggression, we can make do with much lesser. It is true that defense itself requires a counterstroke capability at times. Hence every army must equip itself for it. But that calls for the adversary to believe that you won't hesitate to use it. That's definitely not the case. You see, adversaries go by precedent, not jingoistic but hollow statements unbacked by action. Our track record of using our forces for genuine, legitimate reasons has been very poor. India has a very large tract of land under illegal occupation of Pakistan and China. That's our claim. You know that. I hope you also know that as far back as 1994, our government has unanimously passed a resolution in the parliament, no less, resolving to retrieve Pakistan-occupied Jammu Kashmir and Ladakh, as well as the China-occupied parts of Ladakh, at the earliest, been about 28 years now. How many times has India used its armed forces to redeem the pledge in these 28 years? 0 times. You know it as much as I do. Did we not find a single excuse in 28 years since we took that pledge, or 75 years of our existence, to go in and fight to take back what is ours? In Kargil, Pakistan occupied vast territory, and all India did was to recover it at excessive cost because it did not allow its armed forces to even cross the LC, much less use it as an opportunity to take back all of POK. Pak must have laughed when we accepted a ceasefire with them. Immediately following it in 2001, the Indian Parliament, the symbol of India, was attacked by what we claim was a Pakistani hand. In 2008, Mumbai Taj Hotel and other places were attacked by what we claim as directly Pak support. In 2016, Pathankot Air Force Base was attacked by what we claim as Pakistani terrorists. In 2019, 40 CRPF men were killed in Pulwama by Pak-supported terrorists. After our Balakot strike, which was done in POK, not mainland Pakistan, and secretively, on 27th February, Pak Air Force openly attacked mainland India in daytime. We did nothing to strike back. Proclaimed enemy attacked mainland India and went back. All quiet thereafter. Who will take our armed force capability seriously? As for our ability to handle insurgency, the largest insurgency is another insurgency in the northeast. Isn't it shameful that a sovereign country with an army of 10 lakhs has decided to have a peace treaty with that insurgent group? I still remember the times when they ambushed and killed 20 to 30 Indian soldiers easily in just one event, one ambush. Now our officials have polite tea with them in peace meetings. We also claim that Pakistan has kidnapped our retired officer, Commander Jadhav, and are illegally keeping him in jail in Pakistan after wrongly charging him for terrorism. If this is so, should a self-respecting and militarily strong country not take any aggressive action to get him back? Try kidnapping an American or even a British guy? UK went to war across 7 seas in Falklands just to protect a few British nationals. The world takes these countries seriously. They use their forces. If these several excuses and instances are not enough for India to use the might of its expensive armed forces, what will be enough? One wonders. And do we really need excuses to recover what we say is our land, but others are ruling it? So it is clear that India had absolutely no intention of using its armed forces in a truly aggressive scenario. All it intends to do is to ensure that it does not lose any more territory. Fair enough. But in the present geostrategic environment, are we able to ensure even that much? Here I'll get subjective because no one can objectively prove anything about what's going on to happen in the future. But if I can't, even the generals can't. It has to be subjective. It is widely known that Pak and China have become so close now that the next war India will fight, if at all, will be with both together, not just one of them. And the links between China and Russia too have grown so strong, particularly after this Ukraine war, that India expecting any help from Russia, where China is involved, would be foolish. So, where is the need to keep such large forces? Either way, they are not going to be decisive, even in a defensive role. Okay, one rationale for large forces is to deter the potential enemy. But deterrence doesn't come from size alone, but more by your willingness to use it. You may have the power to really inflict pain on the adversary. But if he is convinced that you will not use that power, he will not be deterred. That's the message our adversaries must be getting. So what to do? I'd say first publish your national security doctrine. Isn't it shocking that this nuclear power still doesn't have one? In that doctrine, you'll have to lay out the threat as you see it and your broad plan to counter it using armed forces and your economic might and other strengths that you have. Once the doctrine is out in public domain, informed discussions can start in citizen groups. Till the time the government announces it, there's just nothing to discuss. Very smart, but a very bad thing for a democracy. And what are the debates happening today in India on need of a security doctrine or the Azan Hanuman Chalisa debate? What do you see around you? This is not an internal matter of the government. After all, we too have a stake, and it is our children, grandchildren in my case, who will die. Let us develop our economy such that no one dare or find it profitable to attack us. Let them find trading with us more profitable than fight. In any case, that's what's happening in reality. Did you know that China is today our biggest trading partner? And their exports to India have increased, not decreased, after the skirmish in Ladakh, in which Colonel Santosh Babu and 20 more were killed and 10 taken in custody, which includes 5 officers. That's a hard fact. Our manufacturing sector will simply collapse without Chinese imports. The development of our economy being directly thwarted by excessive expenditure on arms. Let us stop this foolishness. Because we have less money, we are having to change our recruitment policy such that soon Agniveers with 3 to 5 years of tour of duty will be manning the national expensive S-400 missile systems. Really foolish proposition. Unless nudged by the citizens, the government won't do anything about it. They reap enormous benefits in elections by showing a militarily resurgent India. Even if all that the Indian armed forces are doing is playing bands, making bridges for the railways in Mumbai, landing fighter aircraft on civilian roads ahead of the PM's election visit to the state, or hoisting tallest tricolor in the highest battlegrounds. Well, who needs Rafales and S-400 systems for these capabilities? Let us also no one fool you that the big powers are now being persuaded to sell you weapons, hence they should be thanked. It is big business which they want badly. Some arms dealers like the Dassault of France would have had to close shop if India wouldn't have bought the Rafales. So they should thank us for giving them so much business. Let's get smart about it. Let the real return on investment on such heavy expenditure on our armed forces be curbed. If we spend money, let us get something out of that expenditure. It can be done. Or let us develop alternate measures of national security, that is economy, which is directly being weakened by such high expenditure. Look at the irony. We should also think of developing unity amongst our 130 crores. It is the support of these people as a whole that will help the armed forces fight. Look at Ukraine. How all citizens are fighting for the country. Can you imagine all Indians doing the same for India? Given the scenario as we see all around us for the last some years, we need to get real. Jai Hind.